I grew up beside two small streams that converged behind my home on the outskirts of Atlanta, Georgia, in the 1950s and 1960s. These clear waterways, which flowed through the large wooded lots in our mid 20th century neighborhood, were full of minnows, crayfish, and snakes. As a young girl, I wondered where the water went when it left our yard. One summer, I recruited my sister and a friend to follow our unnamed stream through woods and neighbors' backyards, exploring the meandering watercourse with its gold-flecked rocks and rippling currents. Years later, I learned that my childhood stream, or creek, flows into Nancy Creek, then Peachtree Creek, and finally the Chattahoochee River. Like many children, I loved playing in the creek and falling asleep to the soothing sound of flowing water outside my bedroom window and the hooting owls in the trees, my pocket of nature. I was a city girl with a love of the natural world and a predilection for adventure, both of which have stayed with me all my life. On what was then a largely undeveloped island off the west coast of Florida, my family found a special place where we vacationed as I grew up. We collected shells on its beaches, visited the wildlife refuge that comprises a third of Sanibel Island, boated and fished with friends, and painted watercolors of coconut palms waving in the ocean breezes. We watched the ever-changing shoreline, altered through the seasons and years by wind, waves, and currents. We hunted fossil shells on the banks of the Caloosahatchee River, sifting through the sandy marl to find specimens that were millions of years old, yet still had shiny patinas. In the backwaters of mangrove swamps, we waded barefoot, at times in waist-deep water, consciously exploring the muddy bottom with our toes, seeking king's crown conches. A large climbable driftwood tree, polished by sand and wind, became an imaginary house with ocean views from every room, and a special driftwood key allowed entrance. My parents loved Sanibel's wild nature, its red mangrove forests, flocks of roseate spoonbills, and rare Junonia shells, and did what they could to help preserve it. At a young age, I learned the importance of advocating for the things you love, especially those that are voiceless.